The secret of true prayer is to forget the things you think you need. Well, that one sentence right there just sets me off when I hear Jesus saying that sentence. The secret of true prayer is to forget the things you think you need. It's like you're giving over all your conditioning about lack. You're giving up all your conditionings about the desires for things of this world, your desires for outcomes, your fantasies, your future imaginings. The secret of true prayer is to forget the things you think you need. If you're going to remember God, you're going to have to forget this world. It's almost like the two go together, almost like in an eclipse. There's these two components. To forget the world is the way to remember God. So to me, that's what the hermitages was. When I would go into a hermitage, it was very much of a sense of forgetting about the day, forgetting any kind of my goals or pursuits of the day. It was, some of the hermitages just seemed to be David alone, but even when the cats were involved, the cats want to play. They were not interested in goals. It was like, play now, feed me now, open the door now to let me out. It was very much focused on now. But we were not sitting around having morning meetings and planning the day. They were not interested in that. They were not interested in any kind of communications about the world or the future or anything like this. So I felt like I was joining them, sinking in deeper into that playful experience. It's possible to play all through the day. Yeah, they were like, don't you know this? And so it was an invitation to go beyond like the thoughts and concerns of the world and taking care of things and so on and so forth. I found that those hermitage experiences were very spacious because the secret of true prayer is to forget the things you think you need. Very much like the I need do nothing section in the Course. He's saying, just do this one thing for me, just this one thing, and really mean it. I need do nothing. He's saying, I want you to make a space where the thoughts and the demands of the body, you forget them. You actually forget about needs. You forget about the future. You forget about the past. And that's a way to approach God. And for many people, that, the ego will come right up and say, that's unrealistic. He's not. No, it can't be. Jesus would never. But actually, that's the core behind monasteries. I think that's the core behind very prayerful, devotional living. You certainly can feel the prayer that's underneath that is to allow yourself that stillness and allow yourself more than just stillness. It's really the sense of letting go of all thoughts of concern for the world, concern for anything. It's like you're really giving yourself permission to forget the world. You can only imagine if you, as a child, you said to your parents, and they said, what are you going to do with your life? And you said, forget the world. And they'd say, what do you mean? I'm going to forget the world. It's my mission. I'm going to forget the world. What about school? Yep, going to forget that too. Grades? Yeah. Future goals, ambitions? Forgetting those too. It sounds almost like a comedy skit from Saturday Night Live or something, but there's actually something to it in the sense that the world was made as a distractor device to keep the mind from be still and know that I am God. The calling is to go into I amness, of course, because everything's about what? Identity. And what is our identity? I amness, prior to time. So time is the overlay that was made by the ego to cover up I am. And that's why, to the extent that you can give yourself over to forgetting the world, actually forgetting the world, then I would say then the Spirit will use in a very involuntary way. At first it will give you back the world but it's not a world that you control. It's a world that you have no control over. You're a watcher. Like a Chauncey Gardiner, I like to watch. But from a much deeper perspective, I like to watch is more just, that's that I amness that's not trying to control the world, trying to make something of the world, trying to figure out the world, trying to make the world different even. To just watch is different than trying to change it. Jesus said in the Gospel of Thomas, be passers-by. Oh, that is not fitting in well with our college universities. There's no college I've ever been to that started off with, welcome everyone, we're going to teach you to be a passers-by of the world, to pass this world by. Can I ask a question? How do you do that? How do we be passer-by? Judge not. Is there anything more? No, that's it. So that's my whole curriculum. This is a 5-year program. Judge not. Please, I don't understand. You have to give me more than be passers-by and judge not. Give me something that I can really use. Forget this world. Lesson 189 from A Course in Miracles. Simply do this. Be still. Lay aside all thoughts of this world. Hold on to nothing. Do not bring with you one thought the past has taught, nor one belief you've ever learned before from anything. Forget this world. Forget this course, and come with wholly empty hands unto your God. You know, you have to come to that point where you allow your mind that stillness. There's something gleeful about forget this world. There actually is something gleeful about it, because to think of all the heartache and struggle and challenge and concern that we've had trying to learn this world. Jesus says, you never paused to even ask why you were doing this. You just kept over-learning, much ado about nothing, over-learning and rechurning it back and forth and continuing to do that as if you had some kind of future goal that you were going to achieve. But that's just taken you off into oblivion. You've over-learned nothingness to the point now that you feel you're in oblivion. He does at one point describe this world as an impossible situation. Why would you put so much effort into learning an impossible situation? Something that God did not create, something that was made in hate as a trap. Why would you put so much energy into learning something that was a trap? He's like saying, perhaps we can unlearn this together and sink inward back into this atonement, this correction, instead of going off in that direction. So people talk about this being a monastery and a community. You know, we're all just here for guidance. That's all we're praying for every moment of every day is just guidance, because that guidance will free the mind. Whatever you're doing is not the important thing, but it's tuning into that prayer, tuning into that guidance that will set your mind free. That is what this is all about. That's really the purpose. The form of it is not important. You know, it's just you can't figure it out from the form because it would be ridiculous. And then we've had small community, and then it grows bigger and bigger and bigger, then it starts to shrink. It doesn't matter. It's never about a community in form. It's never about the size of anything. It's never about maintaining something. If we're being called to forget the world, why would we try to make something bigger or better or different? What would be the point of trying to make a bigger illusion or a better illusion or a different illusion? You start to see there's a disillusionment where you start to realize that this thing in your mind that's been driving you, pushing you, forcing you, achieve, accumulate, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. No, it's not. It's the same old, same old. At some point, you're not buying the bait that the form's going to get better. You know, it's, oh yeah, I think I've done this before, probably for millennium. I don't think it's getting any better in form. I think I need to pray. I think there's another solution. I think I need to be still. So that's good when you start to have that realization. You're like, wow, it's really not about trying to make something better. And neither is it about maintaining a personality self where you're accepted or accepted by certain people. So much of religion and theology is like still trying to defer, trying to people please, trying to be liked. He talked about that in Lesson 50. I'm sustained by the love of God. A couple of the things that he throws in there, he says, you believe you're sustained by everything but the love of God. Knowing the right people, being liked, knowing the right people. You see where it's about going back into that state of mind where you forget the world. That lesson completely dovetails with forget this world. That lesson is perfect for that. You don't get any spiritual brownie points for, I can levitate. Who cares? I can astral project. Who cares? I've had 7 out-of-body experiences. Who cares? 3 revelations. Who cares? There's no kind of spiritual self-concept that you get any brownie points for. Because why? The point is to forget the world and remember yourself as the Christ. Well, that I amness is going to keep calling until you accept it. It's not going away. The I amness is like, I'm calling you. Just please remember me. Forget everything else. Remember me. Forget the world. Remember me. That's that nudge in our heart that won't go away. Thank goodness. Thank heaven. I amness is making the call. Because I amness is not the ego. It's everything.